Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Kevin here. Welcome back to Crypto Traders Arena. This is my Tuesday live broadcast where I talk a little bit about the old crypto. It's damn if it's not kind of slow in, I don't know, in the crypto world today, it seems like. Hey, Michael. It's like Bitcoin hits 61.8 and gets rejected and everybody just throws in the towel, or what? Where is everybody? But what a difference a couple days can make, I suppose. Hey, Andre. So there are a couple of the regulars here hanging out, but it's a pretty quiet day. It's okay. I actually I don't feel particularly great. I don't know. I didn't sleep very well. I have a splitting headache, so I've been a little out of it today, actually. But I think today's a good day to just kind of sort of go through and start getting our bids working is what I think is probably the most important thing to talk about today. I mean, for sure, the dip is dipping at the moment, and I think I've been saying a lot lately. I'd like to buy this next altcoin dip if we're lucky enough to get one, and I do think it might be the last true buying opportunity as an investor for this altcoin cycle. So it's becoming increasingly important to get your shit together and not miss it. And if we don't have our bids working, we just might miss it. So I think today I got a whole bunch of names that we can look at. Also, if anybody has anything specifically they want to look at or any good ideas, I think right now it's just a question of let's pick the good. Well, everybody's got to do their own due diligence and research, but I think it's a good idea to get your list together, whatever names you're drawn to, whatever names you like for whatever reasons. Make sure that they're on your list and make sure you're, I don't know, pulling them up and using some basic technical tools to at least get your location in a good spot so you're actually entering these things in a reasonable place, and then get your bids working, and then just sit back and wait. And I don't know, hopefully if you guys have been, like, if you've watched Paul and I's show on Sundays for the last year, even if you've done that, or if you've been paying attention, or maybe you're trading these things and or trying to invest in altcoins, hopefully you kind of see the pattern of how this stuff kind of works. Like, I don't know, depending on where you entered crypto, but just say that you were around for the bear market last time. You'll remember there was a pretty painful bear market that lasted almost 2 years. In this case, there's a pretty solid 2-year bear market, year and a half at least, of just down. It's like, when those bear markets are going, it's like there's just no staying power in any bounces. So it's like everybody has so much hopium every time price bounces a little bit, but then sure enough, it just makes another lower high and just gets sold off again. And it just seems like painful and long and drawn out. And if you're not used to that part of the cycle, then it just can be brutal, especially if you're trying to step in and buy. And of course, in a bear market, even buying reload zones sometimes is still, you buy a 61.8 or below location, and then price just goes another 90% down from there. But anyway, point I'm getting to is, painful bear market. And then last year just basically hit the sort of the sideways channel year, or accumulation year, or bottoming phase, whatever you want to call it. Really what I want to mention from that is just, looking back in hindsight, there was obviously two sort of altcoin rallies inside of that accumulation year where things were doubling and lots of nice trades and money to be made. The first one happened in the first quarter of last year, basically price bottomed at the end of 2022. And a good chunk of the market, maybe a quarter of the market overall started rallying, and it was sort of led by the AI names, Render, and some of those AI narratives kind of drove that rally. But it was still like only maybe like 25% of the overall market. And then sure enough, everything rolled over and came back down to reload zones again, and offered up another chance to reload or buy. And then, of course, the last quarter of the year turned into another pretty, like a more substantial rally. I'd say where a bigger part of the market was rallying, like maybe even half, maybe more, even started like bottoming and ripping. And of course, even in this last rally, then we started getting like the meme coins and the sort of stupid money being made, which is sort of like part of this whole sort of process, right? So we've had like, I don't know, the first quarter rally was sort of driven by AI. I suppose that was like sort of the narrative, was the AI names, but it wasn't like a full on like everybody's running to FOMO in kind of rally. I don't know. I felt like it was kind of a quiet rally. It was like if you're around in crypto and if you weren't shaken out by the sort of FTX capitulation and all that stuff, if you were still hanging out after that and you were still buying sort of the lows and then into the end of the year of 2022, then you would have taken part in that rally. But I don't feel like the public was rushing in per se, or like there was any kind of FOMO. It was just more like the diehards were banging out some nice trades. And it was more of a dead cat bounce in the sense that just like price had gone down so much and so many people had been shaken out that it just sort of had to go back up. And then of course the most recent rally, I think we're starting to get sort of that FOMO a little bit, like with the Solana meme coins going off, for example, and with like Bonk being some, from 0 to billions market cap or whatever, those kind of stories. When that starts happening, that's sort of more, I think, a little bit more driven by FOMO, and a good sign that everybody that was gonna get shaken out is gone, and basically price just got as low as it could possibly go. It couldn't really go any lower, and just now slowly but surely the public's starting to come back in, and then sadly probably the very first sign of the public getting sucked in a way was this ETF narrative, right? So anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So the first narrative, because I'm kind of making a point about these like sort of narratives that sort of occur inside of these cycles. And the first altcoin season of the early part of 2022 didn't really have a very solid narrative. It was sort of the AI thing. And then this most recent one is starting to, I think like, I think Solana's driving it in a lot of ways. And I think the ETF narrative drove that rally. And that was like the rocket fuel that created this most recent season. And the public's starting to get sucked in more, is kind of the point I'm getting at, is like more and more, I think we're starting to see the new money kind of coming in. And unfortunately, probably the first sign of them getting sucked in was this ETF narrative, where they literally ran price right up into 61.8 right on the ETF news, and then just classic sell the news. How many people bought like that ETF on the open, or any of the ETFs, only to get promptly kicked in the nuts? I suppose I just got our website up here with our cool image from, Hanya's been making us all these cool gladiator images, and I'm a hack of a web developer, but I did go through and clean up our website a little bit, and it looks pretty good now, I think. And it just kind of it was pretty bad before, to be fair. Just not a lot of content in here. If anything, we're just trying to get people to come and join our Discord. That's the only purpose of this website. And we do have links to our daily plan video, which Paul makes every day, Monday through Friday, which is sort of setting up levels for the day. And then on Sundays, him and I do that crypto weekly review. And so you can always find those here on our website as well, cryptotradersarena.com. But of course, if you want to join our Discord, that's here too. But anyway, I think our website's looking pretty good now, and we're having a lot of fun making all these images and kind of just sort of defining the brand of Crypto Traders Arena. So that's been fun. But I was going to move over to I guess I'll start with Bitcoin. I'm not going to talk about Bitcoin a lot here, but I'm going to finish my point about how my original point was just, hopefully if you've been around since the bear market, maybe you have at least a little bit of a sense of how these cycles go. And of course, like, the straight down bear. And then last year was a sideways accumulation year, and with a couple sort of mini alt rallies. And then, of course, Bitcoin went into a ripper in general, um, and ripped right up into a super key level, 61.8, right into a major news fundamental driver and sell the news event. And then, sure enough, just completely crapped out on the other side of that event. And so that brings us to now, which just like in the middle of, like say middle of 2022, when altcoins had rallied, and people you were starting to hear people say things like, oh, they'll never come back down to earth. It's just like everything's going to $1 million. And sure enough, everything rolled over and came back down into reload zones again. And if you were patiently waiting with your bids working, then hopefully you've taken advantage of this most recent rally. I mean, I know I've banged out so many damn doubles. Not even counting Solana memes, which took it to a whole new level, but just on my regular old, like, boring centralized exchange, buying weekly W's and trying to sell halves on doubles. I did pretty good. Made some money. Got a lot of free positions. Banged out a shit ton of doubles. And bringing us to the present, now we're at a place where it has Bitcoin rolled over here. And are we going to get this altcoin dip finally that I've been talking about waiting for here? And I think we are. I think it's actually happening right now. So yeah, that's, like I said, it's so important to actually identify the names you're going to bid on and get your bids working now. Myself included. I'll sit here and talk about it every week and then fucking miss it if I'm not careful. So I have to I mean, in fact, even like doing this show today is just me working on, so I can start laying out my levels and make sure I have my bids working, because I don't want to miss it either. I feel like a real dumbass if I go and tell everybody that what I'm about to say right now, which is I'm a fucking bull. I believe we've headed now into the buy the dip season. So like we had bear market, painful bear market, long year of accumulation where basically the altcoins were still just ranging, even though they were doubling in price and stuff. It's still just a range, especially now you can kind of see the range highs forming as there's a bunch of M tops on daily charts in altcoins right now, which are, basically forming the top of the range at the moment and likely have to come back down into buying locations. So if you're paying attention right now, your timing's still good. You haven't missed the bull market yet, but I believe that we're, well, simply put, with Bitcoin, I believe we're going to be putting in a higher low somewhere. I don't know how low that low will be. I don't really even care. But I do think, I think somewhere over here, we're going to probably put in a bottom, and I think Bitcoin's going to make a higher low and continue trending higher, at least kind of sidewaysy sort of consolidation. And now that's just a complete opinion. Like maybe things get really ugly and we dip a lot deeper than anybody wants to believe right now. That's possible. But like, I'm not really concerned with where the bottom exactly comes in, but I'm not really thinking of new lows is really all I'm getting at. I think that we'll probably find some sort of bottom above 15K or whatever. That's just my personal opinion. And of course, what does it matter? It doesn't really matter that much. I think that the next buyable opportunities in altcoins I'm going to buy. And if I'm wrong and everything goes to zero after that, at least I know I've followed my plan. So my plan is very simple. It's to basically hunt relatively strong altcoins that have already set up nice bottoms and are pulling back into those bottoms and buy those, and then just wait for the next chance to sell those positions half on a double. And I'm not really thinking of a bear market here or whatever. I'm not like worried about Bitcoin turning into a bear market per se. I believe that it's actually in the beginnings of a bull market. And of course, the halving and stuff like that are all kind of reasons that I have to make me think this way. But yeah, it's like now is awesome timing. You haven't missed anything yet. If maybe you missed some of these rallies here last year, that doesn't, I don't think that means that much. I think there's, if anything, we're getting closer to that sort of up only kind of, uh, not up, I don't know, up only is that's a good meme, but like, it is true that once the bull market really gets going and the winds at our backs on like everything, the whole market will start to rise together. And I think we're a lot closer to that than we are to like, a bear market, for example, so it's kind of like, well, again, buy the dip. That's the only, it's just like, now it's time to buy the dip. So anyway, that's just something I'll be repeating over and over again. I've already been saying that like every time I've done these shows for the last while here, but really quick, let's just, well, I'm not going to talk about Bitcoin too much. I just talked about Bitcoin on Sunday, but man, look at this thing. I mean, the 3-bar fractal that we talked about, this is like now an empire top. So like, I think I saw, yesterday, Paul tweeted out on our crypto traders arena Twitter account, X account, that the local top is in actually. And I think he's right, I mean, this looks horrible. This doesn't look great for a bull here. I mean, anytime you see like this, like sort of epic straight up move into 61.8 like this, and then we get this stiff rejection, that's not like a great sign. Now we have an empire top here. Basically, we have a big wick shooting to the upside, and we have a 3-bar fractal that confirmed on this weekly chart already. Actually, today's only Tuesday. We talked about this on Sunday as being a possibility. We were waiting for the week candle to close in our Sunday show, and then sure enough, it did close as this doji, and then price just opened up and started dumping basically right into the week. And now they've already confirmed that. So this is what's called an empire top or a 3-bar fractal. So it is a candlestick sell signal on a weekly chart. And I mean, you can kind of see a similar one here. This one didn't have a wick to the upside as high, but like same idea. Nice 3-bar top, lost the level. You can see how they even like a week later, they kind of tested that level again, and then it just turned into a collapse. And to be fair, I mean, I've already talked about this a lot, but in 2019, doesn't this look a lot similar? They ripped it up into 61.8, put in a big wick to the upside. And this was more of an M, to be fair. There's actually an M that came in, and then the bearish retest up into that M, and then the dump. So a very similar situation, though. I mean, geez. The funny thing is, I've said before, I had a sell order working right here, and I was out to lunch with my mom and my niece when that hit. I remember that. I got the alert that I had sold some Bitcoin right there, and you know what? So it turns out that happened again because I sold some Bitcoin right here too. But so anyway, what's my point here? So that's definitely like a local top, However, the only thing I'll say though is we're still just basically around the 50% level. So the thing is like if we were like trading this, if this was like a 5-minute chart or something, and we were like scalping this, it wouldn't be unreasonable to hit that short on the 61.8. You might just have your short order work and you're going to short 61.8, and maybe your stop's up at like 78.6 and you're going to take like a 2-to-1 trade. That would be like a normal day trade that we would take around a crypto traders arena. That's definitely like a classic Paul setup. But the thing about these setups, like on the daily, like on the lower time frames, I mean, it would look something like this. Which, funny enough, if you did take that trade, you're already like at 1-to-1 here. The trade's like starting to work out. But the point I was going to make about this is usually like on a day trading kind of lower time frame thing, you might see price get this rejection just like this, and then maybe you even bang your 2-to-1 out. But because the reload zone really wasn't tested, it's also not uncommon for price just to rip up into the red box here too. So we haven't really explored the short reload zone here. So just because we have this 3-bar top in here and stuff doesn't mean there's not more up. I mean, we don't know if this is a top for sure yet. It's just likely to be one. But I still think that we could test higher if, we haven't explored that reload zone yet. Personally, I would prefer to just see Bitcoin come on clean clean up some of this open air below and set up the dip for the altcoins that we want to buy. But this was just a 61.8 rejection, so it might have to explore higher. We'll see. That said, though, I think that any moves up against that wick are shortable. So now because the 3-bar fractals in, and because we tested 61.8 and got rejected, and we put this 3-bar sell signal in, I think now as like a trader, I mean, I basically have to just draw a new set of fibs, from the top to wherever we catch a bounce. There will be a bounce somewhere. We don't know where it is. Maybe it's all the way down here. Maybe it's right where we are. Say it's right here now. I think any bounces up into the short reload zone are very shortable. So now, if we work our way back up into this area, then this is short location. I think it's too late to short right here. I don't really like that short, this idea of shorting this fractal. Like, you're a little late if you're shorting that level and risking to up here. That's an awfully big risk window. So that's going to make your target, that means you're just for a 2-to-1 trade, you're looking for Bitcoin to come down to like 22,000. And so it's like that's not a trade I like, but I do like the idea of shorting up here with the tighter risk window, So point I'm trying to make here is I think shorts are on the table now. So any bounces up into reload zones now, you got to be watching for the shorts to come in. So I think for right now, like, all we can do is wait. We have the sell signal in for the top. This is likely to be a local high. There's tons of open air below. Key support's down at 32,000. So let's just see. But I think ultimately there'll probably be some sort of consolidation and bottom down here that would potentially set up moves to new highs down the road here, and possibly moves to new all-time highs in a real bull. So I think I'm not really particularly interested in investing in Bitcoin at these levels. I mean, if Bitcoin came all the way back down to like reload zones or maybe down in these areas, I think then me personally, Bitcoin's not really very high up on my list for things I want to buy. Not because I love Bitcoin. I'm kind of even a Bitcoin maxi a little bit. I just I have my stack of Bitcoin, and I'm really more interested in buying things that might have greater or the potential of outperforming Bitcoin. So I'm more interested in altcoins. So I'm not really like hunting investment levels on Bitcoin so much. In fact, I'd rather just see a higher low being put in here, which isn't even particularly great investment level, and then just a nice slow and steady uptrend that will basically support the rest of the market to go nutso. So anyway, long story short, Bitcoin maybe has topped. We definitely had a topping signal, so we can certainly start thinking tops and start thinking shorting against the highs here. And then we'll just wait until the next bottom comes in, and in the meantime, we'll just be getting our bids working on altcoins, which is my plan. So anyway, that's enough about all Bitcoin. I did have the halving chart up here. Just I pulled up for fun really quick, and I'll just mention really quick that we're getting closer and closer to the halving. Sort of dip right into the halving is like kind of, sort of. Like even back here, you can kind of see how 2 months, we basically topped out and then for a couple months sort of dipped into the halvening and then started a rally. During COVID, it was sort of similar, but the COVID sort of black swan dump happened a couple months before the halvening, and then we sort of grinded up into the halving. And it kind of looks like something like that might happen here. You can see how this month is sort of looking like not such a hot candle at the moment with a kind of ugly I guess shooting star kind of thing here. Doji. Of course, I guess it is already 2/3 of the month is over. Geez. Anyway, just looking at this, hopefully you can see how we could spend a couple months going down here. No problem. That's, and then maybe we base somewhere around here in April or May and then start rallying. And so this is our window of opportunity is all I'm saying. This is I don't know. You can't find a better opportunity than right now, in my opinion, in crypto. Like now is the time to be, like, sure, being around all last year would have been helpful, but now is, I think we have a little bit more wind at our backs now. Even though we might have to go through a couple months of pain here I think the wind is more at our backs now than it was 6 months ago. So anyway, it's enough about Bitcoin, but um, I mean, what can I say other than, I mean, this chart looks pretty ugly, and kind of carrying that on a little bit. I won't really, I mean, I'll mention Ethereum really quick just because it's one of the M's. Funny enough, I'm seeing a lot of daily M's in altcoins, and Ethereum's no different here. Like, um, there's an M right here, right? I mean, it came in like 2 weeks ago, but that is actually for your journals or whatever. If you've never, because and I'll get to Solana in a minute, but the Solana M came in a couple weeks ago too, and it was the warning sign. And this is a pretty good example too. What day was that? The M actually confirmed on Ethereum. When was that? The 18th of January. So 4 days. That's weird. Today's the 23rd. So 5 days ago, yeah. A nice little polite M came in, and then the next day they just retested it. They didn't really give us like a short reload zone kind of test, but they just brought it back up into the M, and then the day after put in a little inside bar and then confirmed that, and then the dump. And also location wise, this is in the dump chaser zone. So like, not a huge surprise to see they grinded Ethereum all the way up into the dump chaser zone and then M'd it out. And now it's, basically dumping back into what is the new range, I'd say. There's like a range high here now at 2,700 and an M top at the top of the range. So that was a warning shot here, this M. And now with Ethereum, I mean, it's the same with everything else. I think probably like, Ethereum probably has a higher low also in store for it somewhere down here. So let's just see how far this thing dips. But I think you could draw fibs just off of even this last kilo and just kind of look at it and say, well, it's coming into the 50% level now against support here. There's a lot of these equal lows here, and there's some support here at like 2,100 or so. So we'll probably see a bounce, like at least in the short term, somewhere in this area here, and just like Bitcoin, any retests of this like 2450 area are shortable. So it kind of looks like something changed here is what I'm getting at here. Like we kind of left this sort of uptrend and M'd out, and now we possibly are going to have to trend, not necessarily trend, but sort of grind lower here until we find a new bottom. And that'll be the next couple months of pain or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's Ethereum, but like Solana, like I said, has some of the bigger kind of driving names, like like you can see how Solana actually fired the warning shot a little earlier. That was on the 3rd of January. We put in this M on the 3rd, and then they just kind of have been playing with it and ultimately broke. I saw a big one in was it SCI? SCI. That's a huge M that just confirmed. So, big old M. Now we're probably going to bounce a little bit, but very likely to roll over. What's another high flyer? Arb, I think I saw. Well, Arbitrum doesn't have an M. It's more of like a 3-bar top, I think. Well, no, it's an M. So yeah, Arbitrum M'd out also with Ethereum, basically on the 17th. And you can see that one just, collapsed on the M. Basically has just, So anyway, So Bitcoin probably has a local top, and it looks like there's local tops that are actually even M's, not just 3-bar fractals in some of the key sort of platform coins. So I think, of course, without knowing what's going to happen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's reasonable to think that we have a local top in. And of course, crypto looks like hell. Let's be fair, like right now, like I think I have crypto bubbles up here. It's all red today, and there's some pretty sizable pullbacks, double-digit pullbacks on some of the stuff on the day. So clearly, we've rolled over a bit. It's just a question of, do we get the kind of dip that we need to buy stuff? And I think there's some things that probably already are getting kind of into buyable locations. So maybe I can spend the rest of today just trying to highlight some of those. Don't know if I took half an hour kind of talking about this whole cycle kind of thing, and I don't know if I did that good of a job, but hopefully you can at least just accept, or not accept, but hopefully you can just I don't know, just kind of read the room a bit and see that we're actually, that if, even if it gets a little bit like kind of ugly right here, like even if there's a lot of red on the screen, and even if things have some pretty sizable down moves, and even if there's a lot of FUD, like I've heard a lot of FUD lately about like the ETFs and about others, just whatever. Like those are buying opportunities. So pullbacks are buying opportunities now. It's not any FUD you hear is actually just trying to shake you out, in my opinion. So like any FUD going forward here, in my opinion, is just to scare you out of the trade. And so now it's more important than ever to keep your head on the game, or head in the game. Hopefully you can have some sort of bullish conviction. I mean, I don't know how to tell people to have. I think I'm a bull. Like I think we're pullbacks are buying opportunities. Just like hell. And I'll just keep rambling on about, like, I'll just going back again to like COVID, which hopefully we don't have another sort of epically like global event like COVID. But of course, this was COVID right here, and man, do you think there was some FUD right here? I think people were FUDding and running for the exits right here. The whole world was ending, like literally was ending here. Everybody was gonna die. But like in hindsight, what did they do? All they really did was dip Bitcoin into a reload zone and against a market structural bottom that I'm talking about here going forward. Like all I want to do going forward is buy dips into previous market structure bottoms. So there's a nice clean W here in Bitcoin. Everybody was dying right here, and then not that I'm making light of that, sorry. But the world was in a very ugly place right here, and look what happened. And look how you would have missed the trade. I mean, you could have missed this trade so easily if you weren't, if you were caught up in the FUD and didn't have your bids working. And you could argue that this is the exact same situation we're in now. We hit 61.8, and now we might have to go through this pain. Hopefully, it's not like a full-on black swan event, but and to be fair, this was a dip all the way into 88.6. If Bitcoin is going to have to go to 88.6 right now, that's more like down at 18,000 or something probably. So there is the possibility of Bitcoin dipping all the way against the low. So don't think that I don't think that's possible. I mean, I know that's possible. It's not really what I think's going to happen, but what I think's, and I'll probably be wrong anyways. So don't necessarily like whatever my opinion is doesn't matter so much. But the point is here is, we're somewhere in here, and you got to buy the dip if you want to take part in the rally, which in this case was just insanely epic. I have no idea if this sort of thing is going to happen this time as well, but it likely will. Something similar. So here, like, of course, 88.6 is way down here at 19,500. So there's always the possibility we dip all the way down there, but wherever we bottom here, the point still applies that that's an opportunity, in my opinion, not a run for the exits, panic sell, crypto's going to zero kind of thing. Ponky's green, yeah, Ponky, fucking Ponky, and even fucking Dav is showing Ponky now, so I'm sure Ponky will go to the moon, or Ponky. We could look at that too. Anyhow, I'm just sort of reading the comments here a little bit. How do you see soul coins? Oh yeah, maybe we'll talk about soul coins in a minute here. I should speed it up a little bit because I mean, well, first off, I'll say if anybody has any names that they want to look at, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just kind of highlight some ones that I want to buy, and mostly just keep reiterating this point of like what my approach is, which is very much just this. I mean, this is my approach going forward. Like I just said a minute ago, I'm just basically gonna hunt coins that have weekly bottoms, and I'm just gonna hunt around that level, and usually that'll be 78.6. Like you'll find in this case it was 88.6, but I don't have the fibs drawn on here, but trust me, I know this chart by heart. You could see how the weekly W, $4,400 was 88.6. $4,400. Those were the days, huh? When Bitcoin was $4,400. Jeez. Uh, but anyway, I mean, that basically defines everything I'm going to do on altcoins. It's just a question of which ones now. So like, I'll talk about some of those. Well, I'll save the Sol meme coins to the end, and I honestly I don't know what's going to happen with those. Like I don't know if they're gonna run out of gas or keep on going. But we'll look at a couple. But before that, I'll maybe I haven't really bragged about many doubles lately, but I just on my list I got a second double on like Siacoin recently. I got doubles on Cartesi, RLC, RBM, GMT over the last couple weeks. Those are the doubles I got in just like regular crypto land. And so I guess I snuck in a few doubles here right before the before everything rolled over, and now things are looking pretty red. And I'll just start picking some names here. Well, I did buy just to catch up with last week. I did buy I did a whole thing on crypto stocks last week and sort of talked about bid levels for that. So I won't get into those, but I did get filled on a couple already. So I'll just mention those really quick, and they're not too far away from my levels. So like BTCM was when I talked about Bitcoin miner last week, and I said I was just going to bid at the top of this gap here. And I also have a bid down here at 78.6. And I don't think I put this bid in, but I was also thinking of an 88.6 bid here too. And just I'm going to try to dollar cost average my way in here, but I did get filled on the first one there. So BTCM I bought, and then Wolf. Taro Wolf is another Bitcoin miner, same thing. Pretty surprised how quickly these things deteriorated. I can't even say that word. Fell apart. Crypto stocks just got obliterated, which is again a buy opportunity. I mean, hell, fuck. I mean, hopefully even this, like, you can see the weekly W. It's kind of weird and ugly, and I think it made new lows on the right side. So not a full-on W here, and also not a real weekly W here. So to be fair, it's not like a beautiful bottom here, but definitely bottomy looking price action. And now that price just dumped right down into those levels, 78.6. You can see last time I bought that level and got a double. So this is my second car here I'm building already. It's a no-brainer for me to just take a little nibble here. I don't know much about the company in terms of whether they're going to make it or not, but I'm just anticipating that Bitcoin is going to lead the way and this thing's going to benefit. And look at the upside on this thing. Like, do you think this might outperform Bitcoin? Like if Bitcoin 10X is from, say Bitcoin ends up at 300 grand. I don't know. Geez, that's crazy. But you say Bitcoin 10Xs, do you think this thing could, I don't know, at least 20X? I mean, I don't know, from like $1.50 here, can it 20X? Seems like it could. I mean, that level right there seems like a magnet level to me, like just the old breakdown level. That's 26. So that's, I don't know. I can't do math. That's getting close to 20X, isn't it? So anyway, those are the two I got filled on. I also want to buy like Mara and stuff, but they're not quite low enough yet. So I'm still hunting. And you could go watch last Tuesday's show. I don't want to waste any more time on crypto stocks, but I did get filled on two. And so, and then in terms of altcoins, the only things I've bought on altcoins so far recently is, I guess I'll start with a couple that I did buy. Like I got filled on this CVX. Is that what it is? Let me get my other list here. Shit, Chris, which is the one that's CRV? It's CVX, right? CVX. This one here. Of course, I don't know where I have my bids drawn. Where did I buy it? CV. Oh God, it's on Kraken. Fucking hell. Yeah. Anyway, here we go. And I've talked about this one a lot, so I don't want to keep talking about it, but it's very viable here in my opinion. You can see the W's in, and then we came back down against it, and I'm getting filled on my bids here, where I already have been filled on two of them, and then I have my last one that didn't quite get hit yet, but probably will. But I don't believe I got filled there yet. Anyway, this one kind of power 3. Actually, I mean, this one's sort of power 3, trying to reclaim the range, and then it lost again, and it looks weak as fuck. Don't get me wrong, like this one might have to go lower, but it's just one of the first ones I've sort of bought since I guess since like post recent rally or whatever you want to call it. Now this one didn't really perform as well recently in the recent altcoin rally, but it is what it is. So that's one that I've bought, and then I bought Vara back. So I've really only bought two things in this like new dip or whatever you want to call it. And this one was sort of a lucky double. I got just aping in here and I banged a double out, and then I've bought it back. Now I got a second car fill here. I just went and hit the market there at around 78.6 when I saw it dip, and you can see how it bounced and didn't really produce another double, but it did get a solid bounce there. And then now we've made a new low again, and I saw today I just got filled again, so I must have gotten filled right here, yeah, at 88.6, a little bit above 88.6. So there's two that I bought, and hopefully you can see the similarities of both of them. Actually, there's also a weekly W on this is a newer name, but there's still a weekly W here, and price came back down into the weekly W against 78.6, 88.6 kind of area. And of course, I always talk about liking OBV, but I'm starting to, I could turn that. I would almost say I could turn OBV off now, and I'm just because I believe the bottom's in. I'm just looking to buy a nice location at this point, and so OBV becomes less important to me. And typically, most OBVs probably making a lower high in general, like this one is. But you can still use OBV, and I'll still always use it as like additional confirmation. But really, at this point, like I said, I'm willing to just buy anytime price comes down into the old W. So those are two that I actually already bought. And then some other earlier bids I had worked was like, I've already talked about SPA too much, so I won't. But like this one, I just missed my first fill here last week. They bounced it right above me. Probably still get filled here on SPA. Hoping to get filled on this Gods Unchained. You can see how, this is the dip, right? So this is a great example of the state of the market here. Again, nice weekly W. This is the kind of weekly W I really like. It's like nice and wide. Produced a pretty decent breakout recently, and now price is coming right back into it. And in this case, 61.8 is the breakout level, and you can see they've almost hit my level here, so I'll probably get filled at least right there. And I'm kind of just rolling with this sort of 3 bid kind of thing that I like to do. I'm not saying, I don't know if it's the best way of doing. I don't even know. I just do it because it makes me feel all tingly in my loins. But anyway, so I'm bidding this Gods Unchained against the W. It looks like the dip is already in, so like I'll probably get filled here this week even maybe. And here's a good example of one I just never got filled on. I guess my bids are still working here, but this CHR took off without me. The W came in, and I think I worked that bid when price was, well, probably I had drawn my fibs. You can kind of see what I did here. Before the breakout, I saw this candle here and drew my fibs and tried to I even tried to chase a little bit here just because I wanted to get in, and they still didn't fill me there. And then I also had my 78.6 bid here, and they never gave me a fill. And this one's still looking pretty strong. So all I can do here on CHR, I do still want to buy it. So I'll just, I'll probably readjust my bids here and go up to 61.8. In fact, while I'm talking, I'm going to keep my notes because I'm going to go after this and actually go work these bids. So yeah, I'll readjust my fibs here, and in this particular case, I'm going to probably hit 61.8 because I do want to buy this thing. It's kind of chasey. To be fair, buying up here at 61.8, 16 cents is a little bit chasing, but you can see the W is in back here. Nice weekly W. I like bids against 78.6, which is 12.5 cents basically. So, Richard's asking me if I'm talking about boner in my loins. Boner went flaccid for me weeks ago. I didn't reload on. I do have a free position on Boner, but I didn't actually reload at the bottom. Like I did see that. I think I saw Brian was banging out doubles on that, and I also saw. Well, I know Paul. Yeah, like Paul's long from the bottom on Boner. I actually didn't rebone the bone. But we can look at that too in a minute here. So anyway, there's a few that I have bids working on already, and then a couple favorites. Like I like this AGLD, and so it's one that let me pull up I always forget I have some school stuff on this chart. GLD. Where do I have my? Oh, this is a nice, clean chart. This is one of my. I mean, that Binance chart really shows how pretty this chart is, though. To be fair, even though my writing is all over it, this is just like the most beautiful chart here. I mean, I used it to kind of to describe this setup that this was sort of last year's setup. And I said this even last year that I would get more aggressive as we moved forward. And this chart, it basically perfectly shows this. It's like, this was the bottoming accumulation year, so to speak. I mean, even though it started in June of 2022 in this case, well, I think you could argue the whole crypto market bottom kind of around there, even if some of the names still had to make a new low. But anyway, as we start putting in OBV divergences back here, and then we got the W, like from this point on, that breakout right there, this, in my opinion, had bottomed, and you can see how that's exactly what happened. But, W broke out, nice retest, gave you lots of opportunities to buy through here. I actually banged out a double on that move, and then I reloaded and banged out another double on this move. So I've got 2 cars already, but now I'm going to add my 3rd car here, and you can see how it's starting to dip. And so I'll go back to that clean chart and just, you could argue the W levels down here. So 88.6 is the sniper W breakout level, and I could see easily getting down there. I mean, you can see how sharply these things come off as soon as Bitcoin has some struggles a bit. These things just fall apart, and so this thing's gapping down on the week. That is not. I mean, this is Kraken, and Kraken charts are like thin as hell, so it's probably not gapping down elsewhere. But nonetheless, M's in. There's like an M top in here. It's gapping down right now, or dumping. And 61.8 is just a little bit below, but in this particular case, I think 61.8 is a little aggressive. So I'm just gonna kind of focus on 78.6 and below for this name. But I do like AGLD, and I think that it's got a lot of things going for it, in my opinion, and I think it has plenty of upside. Like going back to that Binance chart, it's still relatively new, so I don't know. Taking out the highs is like less than 10x up to the highs. So, not as much upside as some of these names, but it's newer. I think it like was, launched in the middle of the bear market, it looks like. But there's only 44 million coins out, and I like the story. And anyway, that's where I'm going to be bidding on this one. So there's one that I'll definitely be bidding on. Next on my list, I have Phantom, which, to be fair, Phantom doesn't have a weekly W working, but I think just because it's Phantom, and like I think it's probably one that is worth having in your portfolio, I'm gonna just sort of still take my shot here off the reload zones. I mean, there's not really a W here. It's kind of ugly. But I know I want to reload on Phantom. I'm not too worried about it at this point. So I'm going to just, as much as I'm going to stick to again, to repeat myself, I'm going to try to identify stronger-ish coins, things that were strong right now that have been strong recently and have W bottoms working. And then I'm going to just buy the dips on those. That's sort of my focus. And as much as Phantom doesn't have a true W, I still think it fits the bill as being strong recently and now pulling back into reload zones. And it's just one that I know I want to own. So I'm totally happy to just also buy 78.6 here too. So I'm not going to hit 61.8. And funny enough, it's already at 61.8. So I wouldn't really fault anybody for starting dollar cost averaging would be a good idea on something like this. I mean, to be fair, if Phantom loses its recent lows, it does have downside, to explore. And so if things really start falling apart, then it probably will come all the way back down to 5. That's a sizable move down. So keep that in mind. But nonetheless, I'm going to start nibbling here. And I think dollar cost averaging or buying 78.6 is totally on the table. And if you just think about the range that's established here. You know, we have a range that's still working. Like you could even argue that the range was established back here, and then this was just a test of the bottom of the range, and it produced a nice trade. And then as we got up into the top of the range, we rolled over. So this thing is ranging here. And so if you buy like 78.6 at 25 cents, a double is not even breaking the range. You know, you buy here at 25 and sell on a double right here. You haven't even broken the range yet. So you could establish a free position just in that range. And then when the bull market truly gets going down the road, Phantom's probably going to end up, you know, somewhere up here at least. $2.20 is Mountain Man. So yeah, you could bang a 10xer off on this if you buy the lows here. So anyway, Phantom's doesn't quite meet the W criteria, to be fair, but I don't care on Phantom. Actually, I'm just gonna buy it anyway. Mana, I just threw a few. I mean, we could go through. So many of these are very much the same, but these are just some ones that I like picked out here that I like. I still like Mana. I don't know what their current activities are. It treated me well last time around, and I did step in and reload here, but never banged. I don't know where my average is because I didn't get a double here on Mana. Seems like I should have. You see the nice weekly W, and that breakout was 32, and it just barely doubled, I guess. That's why, because 60, it didn't double off the breakout level. 60 cents was the high, so it didn't quite double here, but it still had a nice move. I mean, it's been strong, I think you could argue, and there is a weekly W here, and you can see the dip in progress as we speak. And so right where my green line is, that's sort of like the focal point of my area. I'm hunting around 33 cents here. So if it's a little higher, fine. In this case, I think 76 is my level here. So I'll just, work my bids at 78.6 and 88.6, right around that breakout. So somewhere in there, I'll fine tune them. And that's sort of up to I usually front run the levels a little bit because especially then I go do these shows and everybody front runs me. So I usually don't go right at, and I'm also not that picky, to be honest. I try to not overthink it because it's sort of in my nature to overthink things. So I don't I just want to be close. I'm not, so somewhere in those areas, I'm going to be bidding on this thing. And I think Mana's got plenty of a future going forward. And just from the chart, kind of like Phantom, to be fair, if it loses the lows and things get really ugly, it does have a lot more room to come down. But I think, like I was saying on Sunday, context is everything, in the sense that say I buy 34 cents here and say it loses 50% of its value from there. So say I buy at 34 and it goes down to 17 or something, or 16, and loses 50% of its value, where 16 cents is way down here, which, I mean, could it get to 16? Easily. Like maybe it even tests like that 13-cent level here. That's this is like, it's pretty painful looking in a sense, but like, even if I went, even if price comes down here, could it still get back to 68 cents and hit my double level right here? I think so. So I'm not like, it's like, even, the reality is I would actually buy more if it came down there. But even if I didn't, and just said I hit these levels here and then went 50% underwater, then it had to go up, 200% or however much to get back to my original double level. That's still only up here. That's not that far. That's just kind of like testing these highs. And so I'm just, that's why I'm just trying to stay in the buy the dip mindset. I'm okay with hitting that, knowing that it could go lower, but I'm still just thinking that now's the time to start buying. And to be fair, as much as I'm a bull here, I'm not going to chase any of these markets. So I'm not going to just go buy right here. But anyway, man is one. OMG is a funny one, but I just added it because I did see it just has like a nice W here. I don't know where the best place to look at OMG is. Of course, this is an old school. Jesus, is that right? I don't think I have an average cost up there, but nonetheless, here you can see the W's in. I mean, these are all going to look the same, is the funny thing. There's nothing crazy about this, or there's nothing unique. I mean, there's nothing I'm doing that Brian Beamish doesn't talk about for years. So I'm not saying like I didn't invent any of this. I just have learned what works and um and what speaks to me. Like in our class, part of trading is you kind of have to figure out what speaks to you, what kind of trader you are, and what what gives you reasons to act. And very early on, I mean, Brian called it the shark setup. There's a little bit of confusion there because Paul has his version of the shark setup. So there's different names. There's a million names for the same kind of concepts, but very early on, when I learned how to trade at TRI, I was just very drawn to this idea of looking for a W and then drawing your fibs and then just looking for places where 78.6 lines up with the W breakout here, or 88.6 for that matter. But and so when I saw Omai's Go, this is why I added Omai's Go to my list here today, because at this point going forward, anytime I see a weekly W that lines up with 78.6 the current range here, then that's just like a no-brainer to me. So Omai's Go at 53 cents seems like a no-brainer to me. I don't know. I could be wrong, but so there's one too. This one's already in a reload zone, so you can't tell me the dip is, if 3 months from now people are telling me there was nothing to buy, I don't know. Because to be fair, going and just buying Omai's Go right here, isn't that unreasonable? I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to wait a little bit and just try to I think the chances of getting filled lower are pretty high, but that's a perfect one right there. And just in terms of upside, plenty of upside here. Or what am I trying to say here? 53 cents. 10x is up here at like the 50% level. So even like this one, God, like even when you think about it, like, and the funny thing is, Omai's Go always seems to find a way to pump. I don't know what they're up to, but this one just seems like, I mean, it's a dino coin now for sure. But anyway, 50% level is $10.25, and this thing's only almost, it's like, what is it, 63 cents right now. So easily a 10x back to more than a 10x back to the 50% level. So, like I said, it's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. So anyway, moving on. There's another one to chew on. Actually, I need to make sure. Well, I have it written down already. So there's one. CGLD is another one, which I think might be called CELO on a lot of exchanges. I know Coinbase calls it CGLD, but maybe on Binance it's actually CELO, CELO. But either way, I bang doubles off on this one in this move here. And remember what I was just saying about 78.6 and W breakouts and how those spoke to me early on, and I've found that that's something that works for me. Well, doesn't this look like the exact same chart? This is like the exact same chart as Omai's Go. I mean, the W came in. Look how 78.6. I mean, God, it's fucking crazy, actually. How do they even make it happen? How does it even happen? I don't even know. Like, why this happens so often that the top just miraculously came in right here, so that now the fibs set up 78.6 right at the breakout level. It's just hilarious how it's like if you read the tea leaves, then it's just telling you that where should you be a buyer here? I think you should be a buyer at 48 cents, right at 78.6. I mean, you can see how like last time they broke the W out, politely checked that level, Wyckoff check status, so you could have had your bid working there. That's a totally valid way of trading too. Let a W break out and just look to buy the retest, the Wyckoff check. And I suppose you would have bought 48 cents in that case, and then banged, well, not quite a double, as a matter of fact. You'd have gotten robbed of your double. So anyway, going forward here, I'm looking to buy that 78.6 level. I don't really feel the need to chase up here at 61.8, but fair enough if you want to. You can see how the M, this one also has an M, there's an M working, and we're already kind of getting down in the reload zones. So there you have it. Aave I have on here, which Aave is kind of a weird one. or not a weird. I was just kind of looking at Ave earlier, asking myself, has it really performed recently? And I don't know. I mean, it had, it did have this move, uh, which did double. It looks like. I mean, if you were buying right off the lows, you got your, I guess even a little higher. You could have been buying. It looks like it topped out at like 120 something, $129. So yeah, you could have been buying anywhere in this area and banged a double out. But nonetheless, you can see there's a weekly W. This is kind of a tall weekly W, so like it's sitting at the level right here. But when I see this, it's like I'm a little more hesitant to go and buy this level here, even though that is the breakout level. But I think with Ave, probably I think the nice and conservative, patient way to do this is just hunt reload zone still. So the W's in. It's not really like as clean as those other ones where the 78.6 is now the W. It's not working out in that same way, but nonetheless, green boxes seem reasonable. So anywhere below $77, and just let this thing find a new bottom in here, I think is pretty likely. I mean, that's kind of, to be fair, these equal lows might have to. So if you're like this would be sort of like Paul's kind of cheap ass thinking, and I love cheap asses. It's never a bad idea to be a total cheap ass, but I know Paul likes to do something like he would maybe just work his bid at the lows here. And that's fair enough if you want to try to maybe sneak in really cheap, because now that we have these sort of equal lows all set up through here, there's just liquidity down here that might need to be absorbed before the bottom's in again. So maybe that has to dip down in here. And so if you want to be a cheap ass, you could hunt this like $45. And think about it, if you buy Ave at $45 here, you're damn near guaranteed to double if you're patient enough at 90. Me personally, I'll be hunting a 78.6 here at $63. So Ave, I could do this. I could do this all day. There's a ton of these. These are just some that I pulled out, and I didn't even spend very much time. I took like 10 minutes and just made a list of like 10 or 15 names that all look good that I know I want to bid on. I mean, to be fair, a lot of these I'm reloading on, so it's a little easier. I bagged a free position, and now when I'm just adding, and that free position sort of is nice because it just kind of, makes me feel better about it. Makes me feel tingly in my lung. Anyway, DYDX. This one's a little bit weirder of a chart, to be fair. It's not that nice, clean weekly W that I like to see. The weekly W is actually right here, and it's kind of ugly. And it's also higher up in the reload zone. You can see how the breakout level is actually 61.8. So it's not that 78.6 that I like. But they've already tested it twice. You can see how the reaction off of it happened, and that's pretty typical, but there's just not enough gas in the tank to create an uptrend here yet. I might have gotten a fill there. Did I actually? I can't remember if I don't think I did actually. Where do I have my bids drawn here on this? Actually, no, I didn't get a fill because I already went and looked at the only coins I bought recently were the ones that I told you already about. Oh wait, that's wrong chart. I do think I have some bids working here on this. Yeah. So like, yeah, you can see. I just went through my bid in at my other buy level, I think is what that is, and then I have another bid here at 78.6. So got two bids working as price comes down into the reload zone on DYDX, and you can see how. I mean, like this was earlier, and like I remember very much so in like July of last year, these W's, and I remember specifically talking about them in these shows. How like this W was like sort of the sign of the times back then. That's not like a great looking W, but you can see how that kind of worked. Like the W is like right here, but it was kind of steep and it was pretty tight. But there was a lot of names that did this back then, and at that time, I was saying I'm going to go buy these and know that they're, it was riskier then. Like now I would argue that as price comes back down into these levels, it's less, I don't know if less risky is the right word, but I think the probability of catching the bottom here is greater now if you're buying these levels than it was back here. But nonetheless, I mean, like I bought that W and did bang a double out here. And so now as price comes back down in that level, I'm happy to just go buy this thing back. Now keep in mind, I'm not doing much FA. You probably have gathered. I'm not doing too much fundamental analysis here. These are all just names that I think have a pretty good chance of sticking around, and I'm just going to kind of nibble all of them and just kind of repeat what I've learned works. I'm not really trying to reinvent anything. I'm just going to just do what I've done, what I've watched other people do that have also kind of learned from the same, like, of course, a lot of us have spent some time at therationalinvestor.com and learned from Brian. And, I even worked for Brian teaching people this stuff for a while. And I have no intention of doing anything. I mean, funny enough, like Paul's a perfect example of somebody that, has managed to use the simplest tools and maximize their efficiency. And he basically, most of the stuff he works, and me too, to be fair, but like, it's really like level one or TRI stuff is, what is it's, very effective. And to be fair, not that I'm, go talk to Brian about level one, but fibs, stuff like weekly W's and fibs and stuff, that's sort of the basic TRI teachings. And it's just what I've found to work really well. And to be fair, it's not like Brian necessarily invented, I mean, the double bottom itself was actually invented by Charles Dow, to be fair. They used to call it a Dow bottom. He was the first person that started talking about these double bottoms. And what was that? That was probably in like the, first part of the 20th century. So it's not like it's brand new or anything, but man, if they do work. Anyhow, moving on a little bit. Actually, the next one that I'm going to talk about has that same weird little weekly W from back there in July also, if I remember correctly, SNX. Because this one just didn't want to give me a double. Let's see where my chart is. God, they just didn't want to. Oh, wait, what am I doing here? Oh, wait, that's not the... Where's my chart? Oh, wait, I can't type as part of my problem. Why do I keep putting a Y? I thought it was on Coinbase. I guess that is my... Maybe I'm mixing up a couple coins, but I didn't get a double on this one. But there was one that... Maybe it was SYN or something. God, there was one that just... No, it's not that one. I thought it was... I thought for sure. It doesn't really matter, but I hate when I see the ones where I thought it was SNX where my double level's just a few ticks above the highs. I know, like Band, man, this one pissed me off. Like this shit. This is part of just being a trader. I like to bitch and moan about stuff, but when you see that, it's pretty easy to be mad. But to be fair, I didn't really... Actually, this is that same ugly W I was talking about, though. See, I bought a bunch of these. Actually, it's funny to see how this has played out. This is that same steep W that came in back in July. And that was actually, you could argue, actually not argue. Like, the rally that we enjoyed the last part of last year, you could only have really enjoyed that rally if you were willing to step in on names like this, even though it wasn't like ideal. It was just kind of an ugly little W. In many cases, I had the OBV I was looking for in that. And then, you could see what happened here. I went immediately underwater and then it got itself together. And in this case, it didn't want to give me a double. It just refused to give me one, but I did bang out lots of doubles in that rally. And you just kind of, like, I would argue now is very much the same. So it's like here, like that wasn't I don't know. It was probably pretty hard to get excited about crypto right here. I'm sure, it wasn't like meme coins were going nuts or anything. But sure enough, that ugly little W in a good location was enough to have a decent trade here. Of course, my bad luck wasn't going to let me have this one, but it is what it is. And actually, while I have Band up here, it wasn't on my list, but for that matter, There's the W down here. I don't love it, but I don't mind buying that level there. You can see the W's in. So actually, I'm fine with that. It's not my favorite looking W here, but and if I draw fibs off here, it looks like that's an 88.6 W there. No, 78.6. So you can see again, 78.6 is right there. So yeah, with band, same thing. Actually, I'm gonna add that to my list right now. And band's been a funny one. I don't know. Band doesn't ever want me to make money. I swear. I don't know. This like maybe I should give up on band. I feel like I've always kind of struggled with this name a bit. But nonetheless, you can see that one's basically touching Mountain Man right now, and I'm gonna look for that 117 level. I guess I have a couple. Well, I have a couple more here. So, well, I didn't know if I finished. I think I got distracted on SNX and didn't actually finish it. But it's the same story as all these. It's just another one that, well, this one's a little different in the sense that the W is actually really big and wide. It's not really a buyable W. We're actually like losing the breakout level right now. And it's kind of a taller W, but nonetheless, it's still a bottom in my opinion. You know, like now we have a nice solid base set here. So like I'm completely okay with just drawing fibs and buying 78.6. So, you know, just somewhere around that $2 and I guess that's $2.19, somewhere in there. So there's SNX. OXT is another one that I'm going to be reloading on. Where do I have that? Probably Coinbase here, or no, Kraken. Yeah, this one kind of looks like that AGLD that I started with. It's like the same chart. Very nice W here. I mean, it has this tall wick in the middle, which sort of throws off the breakout level. In fact, it doesn't really have a nice breakout level because of that. It's sort of a weird little W, but nonetheless, it's there. You could see how last time, I mean, that's what I did last time, actually, that I'm talking about doing now. Same idea, you know, the W broke out. I drew my fibs and bought 78.6 here. Honestly, I can't remember if I bought in that candle or this candle, though, to be honest. But usually when I draw it like that, it means I must have bought it in that candle. But nonetheless, same logic applies. You know, you would have had all these weeks. Even back here, they even gave you one more chance to buy that level, by the 78.6 level, that is, before they took it off. And I actually anticipate this something similar happening again. So like now I could drag my fibs up here. And same thing. I think that 61.8 is a little bit chasey. I'm not going to hit that level. I'm just going to hunt these two levels right here, basically, and just, you know, buy against the old W here in 78.6 and 88.6 area. You can see OBV just pointing higher, and I don't see any reason not to buy this. To be honest, like this is a little different in the sense that there's not like previous cycle bottom here to work with. You know, we're making new lows, and it is a little bit V bottomy looking in a way. Like it's not the most beautiful weekly bottom, but still think there's a good chance of a new bottom being found in this area. And what else I got? I got two more, and then maybe I'll talk about some meme coins, and then I'll call it a day. Link I added on here just because I think Link's a good barometer of the general market. And it's kind of a funny one because it was so slow to perform. Like this one didn't have any kind of rally in the first quarter of the year when everything, well, not everything, but when many things were rallying, Link was doing nothing. And it just had to go sideways for a long time. And then it put in this, like, this is that sort of cheap ass level that I was talking about when you have equal lows set up here, like in liquidity right there. It's never a bad idea to hunt that low as your level, and that's exactly what Stefan did, and actually told everybody else to do, for that matter. So I know there's a handful of Crypto Traders Arena people that are long from down in here, including myself. And you could see how like somewhere later down the road, I had like drawn fibs here, thinking, you know, just we were probably talking about it in one of these shows, and I was like, well, I'm just going to draw my fibs. And I'm going to hunt reload zones right here. And the next buyable opportunity for Link will be in that green box. But then sure enough, Link kept going. So now I just got to draw my fibs a little higher here. And now the reload zone is up here, which makes more sense because now you can kind of see how, like, I mean, you can see the cycle at work here. It's like the bottom came in, they broke it out, definitely produced doubles for people if you were looking to sell has on doubles. And now it's kind of got an M in there and kind of breaking down. And now the 61.8 is the top of the old range, and so it's not a huge surprise to think they're going to bring it down to that green box and then bounce it. And honestly, this is the kind of thing, it might not give you a lot of time. This thing might literally just come down here, spend a couple days, and then take off, or it might even just take straight off. I do think that's possible. That's why I think it's so important to pay attention here. I don't think the next buying opportunity is going to last very long. But that's me. I could totally be wrong. I don't think they're going to give us tons and tons of time. Like we'll see. I mean, it's just getting so close to the having already. And it's going to take a couple months. I mean, it could easily take a couple months to get linked down here. Could also just happen tomorrow, but so anyway, link and then I'll try to speed it up for a couple real quick ones. Joe, I don't even think I can buy Joe that easily, but I just think it's worth mentioning for all the Binance people here. And I guess I see the W is here, and I use the candle body highs as the breakout level, because usually when I see like a wick like this shooting up, just like that OXT actually, I don't usually consider that wick when it's so tall. Like, I'm okay with still considering it a W. I just would rather hunt the candle body breakout level, which ultimately is like the line chart, like you can see how the line chart W breakout level is that level. Nonetheless, Mr. Joe here, whether you draw your fibs off of the low or this low, that's all like a question a lot of students have asked me, and I don't have a good answer for it. I know personally, I usually use the key low here, the actual low, because I'm like thinking long-term cycle here. So me personally, I'd be more likely to draw my fibs here. Does it really matter that much? Probably not. Like the level's not that different in this case. I mean, sorry, it's either that or this, and either one's fine. But I mean, me personally, I'll just use that. And it's kind of funny how the 78.6 did line up there now. So, again, trying to not get too complicated or make it too, not overthink this too much. I just am looking for around that area. So anywhere around 27 cents, maybe a little higher if you want. There's a fair value gap right in here. And like, even if you wanted to start nibbling at that gap, like right there, right in the middle of the reload zone, seems okay. Is like a 1 or 2 pennies gonna? I mean, in that case, it's a good like 20%. It looks like or something. But even that, is that going to make that much bigger? I don't know. Is the difference going to be that big when we're up here later on down the road? And nonetheless, I'm looking for a bottom somewhere in that area. If you get long from like 30 cents, there's a lot of upside here. 10x is to a new high, it looks like, but I don't know. That one kind of looks. It's not the cleanest bottom, but it looked intriguing to me, so I added it. Like I said, that one I can't actually bid on, I don't think, though. Let's see, I just ended up in full screen, or what did I just do? Or wait, I just like killed. Oh no, now everything's. How did I like ditched my sidebar? What the hell just happened? What the fuck did I do? I broke trading view. Oh, there it is again. That was weird. Anyway, so Joe, I just got 2 more. So let me hammer these out. FX, I just did it again. FXS. This one I like in general going forward. This is just one that I want to keep accumulating, and I mean, you can see I'm averaged in here around the reload zone now anyway. I did get a double off here on this first move. And now, so this one, the way I see this is I actually see a couple different W's, and I lost my sidebar again. What the fuck is going on here with trading view? This is a Badger. Wait, is that the same chart? What the hell? Oh no, I was looking at FXS. Badger's next. Sorry, whoops, sorry about that. What was I was looking at FXS on, well, I'll look at it on Kraken. I don't know where I was looking at a minute ago. This is where my trade is anyway, so. I think I got kind of lucky with the Kraken wick here. I don't know if the wick went so high on Binance and stuff, but nonetheless, what I was getting ready to say before I broke my charts is there's this big W. That's the bottom, like a nice W breakout. But I also see a little W2 that you might consider hunting against as well, which is just the little one to the right. There's also this one. And I think that's kind of the key breakout level, which is also going to probably be about 78.6 once I draw my fibs here. So I'm kind of hunting that breakout level, which is right around where I was long from anyway, 590. Again, I'd probably draw my fibs from here to here, which is just me. But you can see how 78.6 lines up with that level I was just talking about. So, for FXS, and you can it's not going to take a lot to get it down here. I mean, hopefully you can at least, if you've been around enough, you know that all it takes, if Bitcoin comes off a little bit here again, this could easily find its way down to that level. So anyway, FXS, I'm hunting around 5, what is that, 94, 594. And then the last one is Badger, I'll get to. Guess on Coinbase. Another one that, like I said, I banged out a lot of doubles in this recent rally, so this was one of them. Looks like an M is in now, and looks like the pullback is well on its way to already being in a reload zone. And the W is just this little cheeky W, and it's kind of a wider W too. It's not ideal. But same thing here with Badger. I'm just happy to go reload off of 78.6 and the previous W. In this case, 88.6 is the W level. I'm still going to... So like when I see this, I still think, okay, I'm going to work my bid there, and I'm going to work another bid there. And I'm just going to probably get filled on both of those. And you can see how close we are already. So yeah, that seems totally... This just seems business as usual to me, to be honest. So, so yeah, anyway, that was a handful of names that I'm going to buy every one of those names except for Joe. Unless I buy Joe on like Pancake Swap or something. I don't know. Maybe I can go get it on chain somewhere. I might consider that. And I will be focusing on a lot of on-chain trading going forward anyway. So anyway, like I was thinking about that today too, in terms of plans, going forward. Like, of course, if you don't have a trading plan, then you got to mobilize quickly, I'd say, if you want to take advantage of these investment ideas. But my plans are basically working out where I'll just keep doing my business as usual Coinbase and Kraken plan, I guess I'll call it, or whatever you want to call it. And it's going to be just it's these names I just talked about. So everything I talked about today, that's just my like sort of hot sex plan, CEX. It's going to be the sexy time plan, where I'll just basically, very simply just buy 78.6 against previous market structure bottoms. That's essentially the plan. And like, if I can find names that have performed, I'm sticking to names that have performed well. Like I love my Zen, and I'll always be long Zen. But like, to be honest, like if you don't already own Zen, it hadn't really, it kind of tried to break out, and then they took it all back. And this one I wouldn't say has performed that well here. So it's lower down on my list of names I'd rather, or I really want to buy things that maybe even already doubled, like even if I didn't get a double on it, I do want to see that impulse move that actually showed it trying to like change the market state here. Cause like on Zen, for example, this is technically a change in market state. We did W out, but until we take out this high, I feel like that's the key high. Until we actually breach that high, we're still trending down. And so when I see something like this, it's kind of emming out down by the breakout level. It's less exciting to me than like, like SPA, for example, which clearly had a well-defined breakout and performed and produced doubles and then came back down. So So for this plan, I'm basically trying to identify the strongest coins that have performed well over the end of the last year, and then try to buy those first. And then hopefully find some shiny new things too. Like maybe we figure out some shiny new things to buy. Like one that comes to mind is this Deso, which is coming off hard today. Like I missed this trade, but I did just kind of do some research on it. But like something like this, I don't know if this is shiny and new. Actually, that's not fair because Deso was around since last cycle. But like the project has some shiny and new things about it. Like I just like that Focus social media platform's coming out, and this coin's related to that. And there's also going to be that Focus coin. So you might like Focus might be the shiny and new thing. I don't know. You might like look into that. That's going to be this is the BitClout guys, and then now they're launching Focus, which is going to be like the new BitClout. So maybe this one falls into kind of shiny and new. Could be like a huge performer going forward. I think like SEI could be a big performer going forward. This thing already kind of went nuts. So like that was that daily M top I had drawn. So I don't know. You can't really buy this here, but like I do want to have make sure I'm trying to buy these if like I mean the dip, if it can come down to basically like 23 cents. So it's got to come off a lot, but this might fall into like shiny and new, I'd say. So anyway, point being is like let's keep our eyes peeled for like the next Solana, for example, or like the next GMT. Like I don't know if you guys remember how Steppen took off like last cycle and just was like shiny and new and just shot to the moon. There's going to be those stories. Maybe they're not even in existence yet. So we have to just sort of keep our eyes peeled for things that could become those stories later. So I'll be kind of part buying these retests of Dino coin names and stuff, and then trying to also keep my eyes peeled for like new stuff. Like RSTK, like is one of Carol's calls. It's not even really on centralized exchanges yet. I think it's RS, or no, it's not that. I might have forgotten what it is actually, but like he's got one that he's like, I want to look into the names he's talking about. So if you're in our premium group, pay attention to what the guys in the DeFi channel are talking about. They're talking away about things that could potentially become the stories of this cycle. So yeah, anyway, I'll be doing that with this centralized exchange plan, but then I'm also going to be focusing on Solana going forward, because I don't know, no matter what, I think Solana ecosystem has a pretty bright future. Like whether or not these meme coins keep pumping at the moment, maybe they're getting a little exhausted, but either way, like Solana is just awesome to trade on. It's easy, it's cheap, it works pretty well. I have a hard time believing it's not going to have a huge impact on this cycle. So I'm definitely going to be trying to focus on things happening on Solana. And then I've already started sort of getting set up to trade on SEI. I was just talking about SEI a minute ago, but I also think SEI, they claim to be faster than Solana, and also it's very cheap. But I think trading on SEI might be a good place to be paying attention. Of course, it's got this big M top right here, and might have to go through some down. But anyway, so I'll have like an on-chain plan for Solana for sure. SEI. SUI, I guess I haven't started trading there yet, but I think that's probably a place that I should maybe pay attention to. And then I don't know, like it's hard for me to get too excited about Ethereum, but I do know there's going to be on-chain money. There's obviously going to be projects on Ethereum that are going to do well. It's just I hate the idea of like paying, $50 a transaction now and then $250 in the bull market later. Like, so it's like my attention, I don't know. We'll see I'll probably only hunt the most premium Ethereum ecosystem names. But of course, then there's all the layer twos, like Arbitrum probably is a place I've done a little bit of trading there. That's probably a place going forward. Metis is probably also another spot to have some money working. So anyway, like I'll have my on-chain trading plan, which will be pretty much the same, still have on double kind of thing. And then I guess there'll be like the whole scalper meme Solana bullshit, like still too, as long as that lasts. And so I did say I'd mention some of those names, so I'll talk about those. But really quick before that, I just want to hit a couple requests here that I forgot about from the chat, and one of them's earned, and that's what made me think of it, because this stupid trade, I saw they broke it out yesterday. I mean, I've been talking about this one on these shows since back here. This was another one of those ugly W's from back last June and July. Kind of steep little W, but sure enough, when it broke out, I bought earn here, and it just never wanted to get going for me here. And then yesterday, I was feeling pretty optimistic when it was a big green dildo up to here, and then they just took it all the way back here now that the market kind of fell apart today. And so no doubles for me yet here on earn, but I think my level's still good at $1.63. So if whoever is asking about this, Constantine, you can see the W level there, and I think that's still the level, and probably still could get filled there again here. I think it performed pretty well here through this recent rally, so it didn't double for me, but it did okay, and I'm happy with that level there. I actually see OBV in a nice W here and trending higher now and breaking out actually again. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. And this is probably an 88.6 kind of W here. If I draw my fibs, yeah, you can, oh, still 78.6. So yeah, the W level's right, just right below 78.6 a bit. So $1.70 seems like, even if you just bump that bid up to the 78.6 level at $1.70, I like that. I'm not going to do shit here. I'm just going to stay in my original trade. And I probably won't add here. I guess I could consider adding. In fact, I think I actually have a little bit bigger of a position than I wanted, to be honest. So I'm not going to do anything. But assuming that wasn't true, I think waiting for a W here would be the conservative approach still, because it does look really weak here today with this failed breakout here. I don't like the way that candle is shaping up. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the week, it's all the way back up top again. But this kind of looks like a short reload zone retest, right? They broke the market and bounced it up and got short again. And now it's, so it's not looking super great here, but I still like that level. And Rune was actually a high flyer. So Rune's a good one to talk about anyway, just because I think it would qualify as a high flyer. And so what's going to happen with these going forward? Because they're a little farther away. This one's not even anywhere near reload zones yet, but you can kind of see it happen. I mean, there's an M in price now, a big old M, and the M broke, and now it's very much falling apart here. Lots of open air like this. I like these fair value gaps. Anytime when we have these big explosive moves, just like Bitcoin actually has, just kind of leaves, not a lot of business was done here. Price ripped through so fast. There wasn't tons of volume, and it ends up becoming like a vacuum. So all this area has to be kind of explored, I'd say. But as far as buying Rune, I really like the W breakout level. Of course, that's way down against the lows at $1.10. And so if you're lucky enough to buy down there, great. But I think if you're just itching to get long and don't want to miss the trade, then I think you probably got to be a little more aggressive and maybe hunt the 78.6, which is kind of like those levels here. So what's that, 226? That's sort of my and actually I need to reload on this, and so I need to make sure this is one that I have bids working on, and I think my bids will just go here at 78.6 and at 88.6. And just to kind of reiterate, I don't really like chasing 61.8 that much, especially in this kind of situation where it's pretty high. Let's just be patient. And they might take a couple months, but I'd be willing to bet money that we hit these levels. So maybe well, that's the funny thing about saying this shit on YouTube is I'm on whether I like it or not. I'm putting myself out there in the world to be scrutinized. So let's just see what happens here on record. We'll see what happens if price comes down here or not. The good news is if price does come down there, man, that's a good trade setting up, because look at the upside here. So yeah, you buy a dollar, I don't know, $1.75. This thing hits new highs down the road, maybe even at $25 or something. Seems all within the realm of possibility. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened, that's for sure. So anyway, there's a couple, and then I had one more request too, also Fun, which is a fun one. And I think Fun might even have a Trump Didn't Fun have some sort of Trump connection back in last cycle? I can't remember. Maybe I'm making that up. But that brings up a point about Trump coins. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Trump meme coins that do well here this year. So just keep that in mind. But this was a request here that I'll just knock out really quick. I don't think I can trade this one very easily on centralized exchanges, at least. But this was from David, so it's not a surprise that he's on the right track here. I see W's in there. I actually see more than one W, to be honest. I mean, definitely there's the one that sort of changed the market state, which to be fair is not like a tradable W, but like this is the sort of change in state that I want to see. Like it broke those highs and you know, at least showed that it has some interest in taking out those levels. So the downtrend got like, you know, severe, tested or whatever. You know, some people call that a market structure shift, like Stefan would call it from the ICT guy. But that's this concept of like, yeah, we were in a downtrend, but we did put in a new high now. And this big old W sort of broke that downtrend. There's also little W's. There's a cheeky little one in there, and then there's even a wider one. So I like the bottom that's in, and it looks like it's already in a buyable area. I mean, you could argue that this is a nice breakout level right there, which is the candle body high of that W. And also kind of that W, that breakout. And you can see they've spent the last few weeks just sitting at that level. So for starters, I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, if you were buying, what is that? 005? 005555555. I mean, if you look left, you can kind of see the original breakout level from the last cycle is that level. So like, I can't really, there's no reason why you couldn't make a case for why you should buy right there. Like that seems like pretty good level. Doesn't mean it's going to go straight up from here, but that's a solid location to be a buyer. And you know, in terms of downside risk, it's already explored most of the old cycle here. So I don't know. I like that 0055 level. And if I draw fibs, you'll see that that's probably 786, right? I'm guessing it is. Look at that. 786 on the money there. So again, this is that concept of like when there's a big wick in the W, I'll just not pay attention to it and I'll just focus on the candle body level. And it turns out it's 786 anyway. So like all these, my bids would be right there and there. 786 and 886. Now you could just work one bid in the middle. I don't know. You could buy it all right here. That's me. I've said before, I'd like to take multiple bids. Just, I don't know. Maybe I like making things complicated for myself. I have no idea. It just makes me feel like I'm being patient, like I'm not chasing. It allows me to sort of chase a little bit by being a little bit aggressive with part of my position and then still being able to average in. Like I said, I like to be averaged in around 786. If I buy these two levels, I'll be averaged in a little bit below 786 if I put the same size on both. And so, the 3-bid thing, if I buy 61.8, 786, and 886, I'll usually end up right around 786 with my average cost. And me personally, I'll average those three together and then work my sell half on double at that average cost. That's sort of my approach. Not necessarily the best or the only way to do it. So anyway, Funfair looks pretty good. And anyhow, I've kind of been dragging on a lot here, so I'll just end with Solana meme coins, which to be fair, there's not like a ton to say. I mean, I could pull across my little multi-chart here and just sort of comment a couple on some of the names that we've been trading, and I'll first start by saying they're looking kind of weak in general, and maybe like with this was like sort of a leader. Although I want to just use this chart to actually look at them. I don't want to disrupt those. Dex Screener, the whole multi-chart thing on Dex Screener is really cool, but it's only cool if you leave it. And if you start meddling with it, it gets like slow and fucked up. And I don't want to change any of those. So but I just want to point out with WIF, this is sort of a leader, right? Like, Bonk is probably the true leader, but then this one was like, it's still... Well, let's just put it this way. Going forward, I think if you're going to trade the Solana meme coins, you probably want to at least have a little bit of this one and think of it as like a leader. I think that's pretty fair to say. Dog with hat. And And if anything, I think like Carol, I liked Carol saying one day that he was using this as sort of a gauge for the altcoin, or sorry, the meme coin market on Solana, and I think that's fair. And if you do that, then you'd have to argue that it's, there's an M here and it's fallen apart here. So, drawing, I think this probably sums up the Solana meme coin market actually. Like, let's let this thing bottom in a reload zone here at this point. It's lost the moving average now, and it's even checked the underside and it's losing it. So like, it seems likely that reload zone tags are in the future. And you can see how I've eliminated. Now this was a fat finger. So this trade actually happened and I was actually long. I was on a bike ride and I came home and saw that. I would have been selling for sure. Anyway, it was like a minute long. I mean, like if you go to a minute chart, that shit did not last very long. Oh God, now I'm creating. See, this is how I end up wasting. This is how I talk for an hour and a half because I gotta not do that. Just trust me, it only lasted like a minute. But anyway, this doesn't look particularly great right here. Ironically, I think this wick will be eaten though. So like, I honestly do think, and once the frivolity truly starts, that's why I think paying attention to this one going forward and trying to buy a reload zone, I drew it off the lows, but even if you drew reload zones off of here and hunted as this thing dips down into that kind of area at like 13 cents, it's not a bad idea to just maybe think about it there, because I wouldn't be surprised if down the road this thing's quite a bit higher, because this wick is sort of like the future being told. Like, it's like a fortune teller for us, like just saying that like some guy fat fingered like a multi-million-dollar trade here on accident, which is just sad, but also hilarious. Anyway, like, I'm not saying necessarily the whole wick gets eaten, but some of it will. So I think there's a lot of upside on this. But until this thing bottoms, I think the Solana meme coins are sort of risky. And also with Solana looking like hell itself, like, let's also watch for Solana to bottom. It's got a big M and it's sort of starting to trend down a little bit. So just, I would go slowly. And with the new, it seems like most of the new ones are going to zero. So, but a couple ones that I've been reloading on and sort of trading, like I bought some of this Popcat down the lower left here as it came down into reload zones. Motherfuckers, I had a limit order at 78.6 here and they missed. I did make some money here on this move though, but I had one more sell order up there that they never hit. Nonetheless, I just went and bought back right around, I don't know where my exact level was, actually just right yesterday in this red candle. So I bought Popcat. And I think this is a good, like the strongish ones, the ones that seem to be like they're going to hang around, like Popcat, I think is one of them. I'm totally happy to just sort of buy the dips on these. So I bought that one. I haven't bought Whiff yet, but I will. Von Speed is up in the left corner here. We had been talking about a lot. Carol likes it a lot. And as it comes down, I'm not in any rush. Like you see that this one's M'd out and starting to trend down now. The moving average is lost now and pointing down. So it's trending down. So I'm not in any hurry here, but Von Speed, kind of same idea, hunting 78.6s, or at least in reload zone. So at least below this level here. And it's almost down there. Popo's right here, which is another Carol favorite, which they had some drama today. I don't know the exact details, but people are freaking out. And nonetheless, I actually did buy Popo yesterday. And then I just went and bought a little bit more today. I'm just this is one that we just sort of kind of like, but to be honest, when I say I kind of like something, just know that just means I like it because Paul and those guys like it. I don't actually even know what I mean, I know it's a meme and they've got like, this is Pepe's dog, Popo, and they have it seems like a tight community and it seems like they're doing a lot, but I guess there was some sort of blow up today where one guy was, I don't know, I didn't follow. Anyway, there was some drama. This thing's selling off a little bit. It tagged 88.6 here and that's a pretty good location. I just went and grabbed some more here, but I've been trading this all through here and done pretty well on it. So there's Popo is just sort of like, and all these are kind of like meh, they're just sort of like, like used car is on the upper right here. And I just can't seem to bang a trade out on used car. I think I have it drawn here. Like, yeah, I got long back here, missed my double. It's just been, uh, it's technically above water for me, but it won't give me a double. So I'm just sitting in this trade, but I have to say it doesn't look particularly great. It looks like it could fall apart here. So I don't love used car either. Like I said, I bought PopCat. USDC this is upside down cat. It came down into a nice level yesterday. Uh, and I even mentioned in our degen room that I was going to start hunting reloads here. I haven't done anything yet, but you can kind of see it's starting to W potentially. It even W'd a little bit already. Still running into resistance in the moving average though. But this one's probably let's see, USDC. This one is probably in a reload zone off of this low and probably even off the original lows. And this one kind of has the Carol thumbs up. I don't know if he's still interested in it, but originally it was his call that I took actually back here. And then I'm still long. That's the thing. I'm not really selling all of, I'm kind of taking the same approach as the little old lady kind of strategy. It's just, it's like on crack because these things usually double within a day or so or less. And then they have a tendency to really rip when they get going, like this one, put in quite a big move. But nonetheless, I still like this. I don't know the exact state of the project. I mean, it's at 6.5 right now, 6.5 million market cap. Seems like it could easily get up to 10. So that's not quite a double, but I don't know. So I don't know. It's sort of up in the air, but I'm okay with reloading down against this purple line, basically somewhere in that area in the reload zone. So I don't have a problem with that one. What else I got on the screen? Salama was a big win for us. Can't really do anything about it now. It's just been ripping and now it's starting to potentially break here, but it hasn't. I mean, there's kind of an M coming in. I don't know if Salama, I think right here, I was like, it looks pretty ugly. And then they ripped it like right after I posted about it. I was like, Salama looks like shit. And then they like immediately ripped it right afterwards. So there again, my opinion doesn't really matter, right? But anyway, long story short, I can't do anything with Salama here. K-pop was also a big win for our group. Nice breakout here, and it's just kind of coming back down in reload zone. So I'm happy to reload on K-pop when it comes back down. And so these 8 are like ones that we've been trading. These are all memes that we are trading. And I really, honestly, I don't have a problem with reloading on any of these. I don't know if the meme coin rally is going to continue or what, or maybe it dies off with the rest of the market for a little while. But I think in the bigger picture, Solana's here. You're going to have a lot of action on it in this cycle. It just seems like it's gonna. I don't know. In fact, one of the smarter people in our group said one thing one day that I thought was pretty. He just said that he thinks that Solana will be like the Binance Smart Chain of last cycle, or of this cycle. I mean, like if you were around last cycle, Binance Smart Chain came on the scene and it was so much cheaper than Ethereum that it just automatically had a huge sort of boost, and people started trading the hell out of it. And of course, that was when like all the like food coins started coming out and stuff, like sushi or whatever. And anyway, he thinks that Solana is going to sort of have that kind of thing going for it this cycle, which kind of makes sense. I mean, it's tradable. Ethereum's not really tradable that at the end of the day for a lot of especially the general public. So anyway, there's some, but I have more on this screen. I have a whole other screen. The big winner's Punky. So we're all long Punky. And you can see it's ripping into new highs. So there's always a bull somewhere. I mean, this is a good example. They ripped it up into 61.8, rejected it, and now they're launching it to new highs. Da Vinci came out and shilled it right here. I think it was like on that candle a couple days ago. He came out and shilled it, and then I saw other influencers are shilling it. So I guess the influencers are pumping this one. I mean, you can't really do anything here if you're not already long. You got to just leave it be, I'd say. But who knows how high it can go now that it's making a new high. So, I mean, if you draw reload zones and can buy pullback on Punky, seems to make sense to me. Catman right here is another Carol call. I don't think there's anything to do here. It had a nice trade in that move. I think I banged a 5Xer off, or well, I know I did right around here. And now I just have a free position, and I don't think, I mean, there's nothing to do here. Maybe if it breaks out, I could see taking a trade, but for right now, it looks like it could be running out of gas. This long, actually, another Carol call. I mean, honestly, I've been basically just taking Carol's calls for, well, I've had some of my own and Paul's, and that's the beauty of our degen room has been running on all cylinders lately, like Alex, Alex, Carol, Paul, Noom a little bit. There's just, a lot of people are jumping in there with their Stefan, and of course, everybody's just sort of throwing their ideas in there. And, and Clinchy, he's come up with a lot of them. Actually, I've taken some of his trades. So yeah, anyway, thanks for all those calls, you guys. And that's the point of this group, right? We're just all trying to work together, but it's a perfect example of how I can just sort of ride their coattails a little bit. Almost every one of these has been a call from somebody in the group. Well, except for Baby Bonk, but anyway, so long looks like it should be short though, because it looks like hell. This one, I don't know. When you see this, it's like, it might be on its way to zero for all we know. Wait for a W. I think its location's pretty nice. If it can W out here, then maybe. Baby Bonk's kind of funny because this one on Twitter, I had posted. I think I posted one of these shows and I said, let me know if you have any requests. And these guys, the actual Baby Bonk people, were like, take a look at Baby Bonk. And I did, and actually missed it right. I missed it right when they said that. It actually looked pretty good. Like I pulled up the chart and was like, damn, this thing looks good. That was like here. And then they ripped it right here, and I missed that move. But then I did go and buy it. I bought the retest of that move and banged a double out here, and then it just went to, straight back down here. So like this is one that I think, it's 262,000 market cap. It's only 260K market cap. Like even a move to $1 million is, a sizable trade here. So a move to, 1 million isn't that unreasonable. They have 61K in locked liquidity. Seems pretty good. The project is, it's like Bonk and Doge's kid or something. I don't know what the stupid shit it is. Not Doge, but it says probably right here. It's Bonk's kid. But hopefully you can at least see locations good, and there's a nice big fat W. And so I don't really have a problem with like this one, actually. I don't think this has like the gas in the tank of like some of the high flying rippers right now, but it is just bumping along the bottom, and probably, even if you bought this 26 level here, a double's just a test of the highs basically. So I don't know. I actually did reload on this one. Now that I think about it, yesterday too, I just went and bought, 61.8 right around the 21 EMA here. So anyway, Baby Bonk is one. Let me speed this up a little bit, actually. Well, I gotta end this thing here pretty soon. I'm already at an hour and 50 minutes, but I do want to talk about a couple more just because I'm on it now. So but I will keep it quick. I mean, so Solzilla was like a huge win for me twice now. Like this was in fact, even an over 100xer. Then this was a Paul's call way back here, and anyway, we all reloaded on Solzilla down here again. But now it's like, I don't think you can really, let me pull up Solzilla. So, I mean, the question, I don't know if I'm answering any questions here, but like, I guess the question is the Solana meme coin rally still active? And I think like one, I think it's still I do think it's still active, but running out of gas. And of course, with the broader market not looking so great, I think it's probably dangerous to like go all in on shitcoin meme coins. Because like, to be fair, when the meme coins are rallying, that's usually a sign of a top, right? And that's kind of what happened. Like meme coins rallied on Solana all through December hard. They ran super hard, and they basically ran right up into Bitcoin, running up into 61.8. And then now that Bitcoin got rejected at 61.8 and Solana itself put in a daily M top, I think it's like kind of hard to argue that these things it's not going to be as easy. Let's just put it that way. And I think then the next question would be like, which one of these meme coins has life in it still going forward? Because 90% of them are going to go to zero. But like, can something like Solzilla become solid going forward. Like, cause look at this chart. I mean, it's a beautiful chart. Like there's a nice daily W here that broke out, and we traded this again here actually. And to be fair, like I don't have a problem reloading right there on that 21 EMA tag. I didn't, but you can see the W level hasn't been tested yet. So like, seems like reloads on Solzilla would be at that level and below, and I'm okay with that. It's just, so actually, like honestly, I think this was probably the best one that we've looked at on Solana just now in terms of like being like buyable here in the short term. As this comes down into that purple line against the W, I think that's a nice buy level, and we're possibly starting a new uptrend here on Solzilla. So dare I say this one's established now. This is like almost like a more established meme coin, and maybe has a future. It's got great, I mean, it's got some cool, like, I don't know. It's funny. It's like, it's got a pretty good story. It's sort of, I don't know. It seems pretty good. So whether they stick around or not, I don't know, but I like Solzilla. It seems like like this one, K-pop. I mean, I don't know what K-pop's doing, but that's a damn good name. And I know people love K-pop so much. It seems like a no brainer. Like, in fact, I aped that one. Like I was like out walking and I saw Carol post it, and like I just saw the word K-pop and I was like, dude, that's a no, that just seems like a no-brainer. And then by the time I got filled on it, I bought it at like a double higher than Carol did. Because I've chased some of these markets. Like I don't really want to like condone that behavior, but I've done some stuff that I would never do on like those other charts I was showing you this whole show, for example. So buyer beware. I mean, that's, I was buying stuff like in big rips and shit, and super risky and super dangerous. So keep that in mind. But I don't know. Is there any others I can mention here really quick? I think well, here's a Trump one. I guess I could just do the full screens on these. This is T-Whiff, Trump whiff hat. And this one, I've fucked this trade up already, man. I should have sold my double right here. Like, do I have that drawn on here? Yeah. This one's so annoying because I bought it right here. It doubled within a couple hours. I didn't sell here because, of course, like limit orders are harder. So I got a double on this, but didn't sell it. Then I had to go all the way underwater. Then it almost gave me a double, but didn't. And then all the way underwater. Then it actually hit my double out for a couple hours, and I didn't sell it again. So I've basically boogered this trade, but like now you can see the little W. So actually, like this one seems pretty viable. Now I don't know. This is some stupid Trump meme, but like I said, I think Trump. Mark my words, Trump coins are going to kill it this year. That's not an endorsement of it's not an endorsement, but I'm just saying, like, I bet you these Trump coins have some, they'll probably do okay. And nonetheless, this one has a little hourly W here, so buying that breakout level at the bottom of the range, seems pretty okay. Like, to be fair, this W level way down here is probably the level, so you might even hunt like that. You can see how they retested and bounced it here. I kind of like this one, actually. This seems pretty tradable. So maybe keep T-Whiff in mind, and I'll show you one more Trump coin, and we'll call it with these meme coins. Now I can't figure out how to get off full screen. That's why I hate. Oh, right here. So T-Whiff. Anyway, a couple of these are dogs. Like Genesis, kind of a dog. It looks like it's Wing. Maybe that one is worth looking at. And this Gator, I did pretty good on this one actually, but now it's falling apart. This one I bought really early here on a call that I got from this dude on Discord. And I had aped into that. And then, this is a pretty classic example of these though. For example, like, how do you get to, why can't I don't even know how to use this shit. I mean, there was a big move here, but you can see how it's just kind of deteriorated since. I mean, there was definitely big moves in here that were tradable, but looks like my free position is, gonna go to nothing here on me. So be careful of stuff like this. When I see something like this, Like if this was a coin that I like really wanted to own, then yeah, sure, I can, you know, say it's below 78.6 right now. It's probably at 88.6 here. So why not take a nibble? And that's fun. That's fair, but the problem is these have a high likelihood of going to zero. In fact, this one's got a good story. It's Brigador. It's like Ansem's dog, because Ansem, I guess he's like that. Well, he's like a Twitter influencer, but he's also like heavily deep in Solana. Um, and I guess he had made a comment on Twitter about naming a dog Brigador, and then somebody made this coin, and it passes like some of the rug pull checks that we do and stuff. So it's not like the worst, but I do know that the dev had a lot of coins and he dumped on everybody already. So maybe he's out. But earlier on it was pretty risky because the dev was holding like 20% of the float or something. And then, of course, you can see now everybody's running for the exit. So I don't know. Be careful stepping in here. It's probably better to wait for a new bottom and try to buy it in an uptrend as opposed to knife catching a bottom. Anyway, but that's a pretty good example of one that's sort of not worked out that great for me, but still produced free position. And then I was going to end with one more Trump coin. I'll just end with this one. I haven't gotten long yet. I missed it, but this Conan, this is like Trump's dog or something. and I mean, first of all, lots of M's here. So I don't know, like whether you wanted to step in against the lows here or not, it's not that unreasonable. I don't think I'm going to do that. In fact, I kind of like this level here at the W, you know, which is probably in a reload zone. So yeah, this W around 78.6, that's kind of like where I'm looking on this one. But I think like, I don't know, it's got some sort of stupid Trump, yeah. Named after being honored by Donald Trump at the White House. These coins are ridiculous, but I do think that Trump coins are gonna, because the funny thing about a Trump coin is you never know when Trump will tweet it out, or well, he doesn't tweet anymore, but like he's totally the guy that would like shill his own coin if he hears about it. And if you happen to own the one that he shills, it's probably going to be insane. So don't underestimate. I mean, Trump's like he's like one of the best shills ever. It seems like actually there was another Trump coin that Alex posted earlier that I need to go look at. I can't remember offhand. Let's see if I can find it really quick without USDT upside down Trump. Okay, I swear I'm gonna end now here. Upside down Trump we'll look at really quick. I'm gonna add that to my well, so this is a pretty good example of a brand new one that's kind of gone through the cycle, and this is a good one to end with because I will just sort of reiterate that this is the fate of most of these. So if you're up here buying, like if you're trying to ape into the first move, usually there's like a first move and then the retest, which it happened in this case let me go to a 1 minute chart, but I mean this one happened a little faster than most, but it still happened. It was like big strong move, one dip that you can buy, which can either be like all the way to reload zones like in this case, or sometimes it's just at 38.2s pump chaser zone. But either way, like that was the last buying opportunity, and then they ripped it, and then since then it's just been kind of falling apart. Like sure, there's been like doubles to be had here, like if you were buying the lows you were probably banging out doubles and stuff, but you can kind of see how it just ran out of gas and it's been going sideways now for a couple of days or a day or so. I guess just today it's brand new, and ultimately it just crapped out here. And now I would say this is like super dangerous right here. Like sure, it might, the crazy thing is it might just like this move right here was huge. Like that was a 0.05 up to 0.2, so like a 4xer or so. So it's like you can try to trade that, but it's just hard. Like you could step in here and that's fine, but like man, it might just keep going down. So I don't love that. I would much prefer you know, like that W seemed pretty good, like waiting for a real W to come in. You could have had a trade in there. It's probably got to just wait here. I mean, this is a 1 minute chart. Remember, this shit is this is only a day old, so it also might make more sense to just let it. I mean, that's 30-minute chart. Is this 2 days old? It's came out yesterday. Yes, it's 2 days old. So I mean, looking at it like this, it's nice W. To be fair, there's a nice W that's being tested. It just looks like it's trending down here. So I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to step in here, but I'm gonna watch it because I do like the idea of keeping some of these Trump names in mind. Yeah, he'll truth it out. Constantine, that's right, Truth. I forgot about Truth Network. Is that like live? I'm sure it still is, huh? It probably. I've never even. Uh, I mean, and I'll end with. I mean, it's an election year, right? And I mean, I don't know. Go Google like how the stock market has a tendency to perform during election years, and then just put everything into context. This is a good ending to this. Is we're heading into the Bitcoin halving. We've already put the accumulation year behind us, and we've already sort of started the pre-bull market, I would call it. It's like the pre-uptrend. It's like we're sort of kind of breaking out of the ranges. Or some of these altcoins have broken out of the range and are now in the process of retesting that range. And so I would argue like the election year is just another example of, or just another piece of information to sort of help maintain my bullish conviction for the year and help me stay in the buy the dip mentality as opposed to the short the shit out of the market mentality. Like I'm not interested in shorting the market at all for the most part, except for like maybe day trading, of course. But like I'm not really like trying to like exit any of these altcoin positions. Now, if they hit my targets, then I have to. That's the whole point. But like I'm not like, I'm not going to try to call the top here. I'm just going to buy the dip. So anyway, that's I guess that's it for my presentation today. A whole 2 hours of saying buy the dip. And hopefully I mean, I went through a lot of names. Maybe leave the meme coins aside if you're not willing to. Well, if you don't want to sort of trade that disaster, it's not easy, and it's not for the faint of heart. And you got to be willing to take some losses. I've had a lot of dogs. Of course, I don't have my dogs on that, that screen I just showed you. There was a couple, but most of the dogs aren't on there because I just sort of wiped them from my memory. But it's pretty fair to say that it's most of them go to zero, or at least most of them fall apart. They don't really maintain the rallies. And they're all just nonsense. I mean, there's endless nonsense. And there's just so many new ones every day. So like, just keep all that in mind. And maybe try to, I don't know, like, I don't even know how to say, I mean, I know the only way to find him, like I know Carol, he's like hunting Twitter. He's already built out his list of people that he trusts, and he's just basically following them closely and mimicking their calls. And I think that's the best approach, right? It's just you have to find those people on Twitter, and you have to actually convince yourself that you trust them, because obviously most of these people, if you're buying people's Twitter calls, you're probably way too late. So keep that in mind. If you're just going and taking everybody's Twitter calls, usually they're like up here, some influencers out shilling this when it's like right here on the open. It's like the first day, it's ripping. It's like, 17,000% up from the bottom or whatever. And I mean, even right now, this thing's still 10x since the open. It's only a day old, and it's still sitting 10x above the open right here. So it must have been like, 100x up here or whatever. But my point is, if you're buying Twitter calls here, you're probably going to get run over. So just, but I do think getting a gauge for the sentiment is the best way to pick these things. You got to find the ones that are like hip and cool for the day or whatever. So anyhow, be careful on the Solana meme coins. But I think, and I'll just also say that, yeah, we're probably way late in the move. Just kind of judging the current state of the market here, like how is something like this going to truly turn around today? It's like the whole market's feeling a little depressed. There is a W working, but it's not holding, or it's still holding, but it's not really producing any sort of bounce. And it just seems hard. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around this thing turning around and ripping here. And even if it did happen, it would be like 1 out of 100 of them that did. So I would say go slowly on the meme coins, unless you're already like, if you've already been doing it for the last month or so and you're already kind of comfortable, then that's fine. But it's probably not the best time to jump in and start, but I do think it's a good time to get set up on Solana. Like if you're interested in on-chain trading, then get a Phantom wallet going, maybe make some swaps to play around with Radium and Jupiter, and maybe trade a little bit of these with like $100 challenge sort of idea. Like you can see somebody's $100 challenge in this. They just bought $1. This is a Crypto Traders Arena Capio 1 student doing their $100 challenge on Trump coins. But I mean, that's why Solana's got a future, because you can take $1 trade. I think that's a huge. I mean, what? Anyway, it costs like it's like the transaction fees are like 0.0002 Solana or whatever. It's like it's just like less than pennies, right? So, or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. It's cheap as fuck. And then I think like Radium and stuff, do they charge 0.1%? I don't even know. It's like that low that you don't really. It's not like Ethereum where you have 3 failed transactions and you get charged $50 for all 3 of them, or each one of them, or whatever. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining me. If you had the wherewithal to sit here and listen to me for 2 hours, then that means you're either a diehard or I'm not as crazy as I think I am. But as always, I'll be back next Tuesday. I'll be back on Sunday with Paul talking about sort of the bigger market cap coins and working our that's like our simple trading strategy or investment strategy for people that maybe don't have all the time to go, so deep into crypto and just want to basically hunt decent levels on like sort of the higher market cap coins and just take advantage of the cycle. And just like all the other things I talked about, I think now is the exact time to be paying attention and just trying to time this dip coming up. So yeah, we do that on Sundays at 16 UTC. Then I do this show at the New York Stock Exchange close every Tuesday. Of course, we're always on Discord every day, and we always are in the New York session live trading every day. And on Tuesdays, we let anybody jump in that meeting that wants to. So Tuesdays are kind of our day for the public, and Stefan also live scalps on YouTube for the London session on Tuesdays. So if you want to get a feel for like sort of the day trading kind of part of our group, which does make up the bulk of our group, like for the most part, we're focused on trading setups on lower time frames. But it's sort of my opinion that you should, if you like crypto and want to be part of crypto, you should definitely have some sort of investment trading plan. Even if you're trying to be a day trader, it doesn't take that much work. You can just spend a couple hours a week reviewing your portfolio, reviewing your bids, and making sure you have your sell orders working. And honestly, with a few hours of work a week, you could easily implement a pretty straightforward investment plan that'll pay off handsomely when the bull truly comes back. And if you can do it in a way that doesn't make you stress, if you can set aside some money and then follow healthy risk management rules and just not get shaken out. Like the only way to fuck that plan up, to be honest, is to panic sell the lows. Which people, like think about the people that panic sold the FTX lows. I mean, this is probably a bad example, but just using Bitcoin or something, like, there was people that got shaken out of the market. Or the COVID one, even worse. But that was FTX right there. That was when the market was at its bleakest. That was when people were literally saying Solana was going to zero. You know, in that moment, people said Solana was going to go to zero. And what happened? Solana did the exact opposite of going to zero. So point being is the only way you can really fuck this up is by getting shaken out. So don't let them shake you out. Now, to be fair, like, we might not have another bull market. Maybe that never happens, but that's not fucking up. Like if you build a plan to take advantage of the crypto cycle and you follow your plan and you don't get shaken out of the trades and then crypto goes to zero, you didn't fuck up. You just, we just didn't win that time. We'll have to wait for the next one. But the problem is if we get shaken out, then you didn't follow your plan and you're going to miss the rally probably and hate yourself for it. And also, if you don't step up right now and work your bids and establish your positions, then you're going to miss it also. And I would consider that fucking up if you had a plan to take advantage of it. So, I mean, crypto going to zero isn't a mistake on our part. It'll just be unlucky for us. But we won't ever know if we don't step in now. Well, and when I say now, I don't mean today at these levels. But if we don't step in to buy this next dip, then we might really regret it. Me personally, I just want to know that I took my chance. So anyhow, I'll leave it at that. Wish you guys all a good rest of your evenings, mornings, afternoons, wherever you are in the world. I know most of our group is not on my time zone. And I don't know. I'm not the best shill. I should be shilling our Capio 1 program, and I would love to teach you how to trade and help you as much as I can. And we are starting up Capio 1 again. So if you are interested in learning how we do things and if you think you can benefit from our simplified approach of getting people to a place where they feel comfortable executing trades in the market, then feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to have you in our group. We'll probably be starting up in a week or two here. And I'll never be good at shilling it, but we do want to bring more people into the group, and would love it if you joined our Discord and just pop in and say hey, and if we can help you in any way, we will. And if anything, we provide a lot of trade ideas on a daily basis. And a lot of, right now, like our airdrop room's on fire. They're people are working really hard on farming airdrops. I have to admit, I'm not one of them. I'm a little too lazy at the moment, but lots of opportunities in the airdrop room. We have our DeFi room, which is sort of more of a reasonable conversation around on-chain trading, trying to highlight potential future winners, good projects in general. Like the DeFi channel focuses more on like FA and quality projects. And then of course we have our degen room, which is also on fire, which is just complete degenerate trading of Solana meme coins mostly right now, but a little bit of Arbitrum, a little bit of, we took a few shots on the SEI network, and I did bang one double out there on Cook, but I had like 3 other trades going that all basically fell apart. Pretty good example of how the action was definitely on Solana, not on Saya, however you say it. I don't know what it is. So anyway, like I said, those 3 rooms are constantly running. Then we also have our trade ideas room, which is just trade ideas from any market. Sometimes that can be day trading, like the futures market in Stockland, or it could be Binance futures. Or Lulian is just constantly in there banging out trades on KuCoin. You could just probably build a whole trading plan off of trying to follow his KuCoin plan. And that dude's banged out more doubles than probably the top 5 of the rest of us combined. Him and Christian, I don't know. There's a couple people. I don't know if Christian's in here right now, but anyway, there's a few CTA people that are banging out more doubles than me, and I feel like I've done pretty good actually. So point is, we're always sharing those ideas in those 4 rooms. Those are kind of like the 4 hot rooms for trade ideas at the moment. So and of course those are all premium rooms, so you do have to be a premium member. If you want to just join our Discord for free, then that's more like these kind of investment ideas that I talk about today in our general chat. We're usually just sharing kind of an extension of our Sunday show. We're just trying to make sure everybody knows where we're buying all those coins so that if they want to hunt similar levels, they can kind of at least see what we think. If you guys like our approach, then we're happy to share. We're just trying to share those kind of trades in the free room, but we don't get into the setups as much because one, it's a little dangerous. I don't really like the idea of sharing setups with people who potentially don't understand risk management and don't have trading plans that will keep them out of trouble. Because the reality is, if one of our guys posts a setup idea, it's just their setup idea. And when you put it into context and realize that everybody's probably going to be wrong a good 40% of the time at least, that means there's a good 40% chance that trade's not going to work. So, these people are all generous enough to still share the idea, having to take the heat when it doesn't work. It never feels good to share an idea with everybody and then have it not work. And so not sharing those ideas in the free room it's not really a good idea, I don't think. But the longer term zoomed out investment trading is a little less dangerous. And that's kind of our focus in that room. So of course, feel free to join that room, pop in and say hi. And then of course, if you just have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. And you can always DM me directly, especially if you want to hear more about Capio One school program. And anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Like us on Twitter, join us on YouTube, sign up for my OnlyFans. I don't know, join Truth Network and give Crypto Traders Arena a shout out to Trump. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So I'm going to hit our little disclaimer button, remind everybody that I'm just another idiot on YouTube talking about my ideas. I'm not shilling any of these names. I'm not saying they're the greatest things since sliced bread. I'm not married to them. I'm just going to trade my little W plan. I'm going to do exactly what I said I am doing, which is buying against previous market bottoms. And at that point, hoping for the best. It's a classic buy and pray setup. I'm going to buy W's and then I'm going to pray that it goes up afterwards. So I don't have any more knowledge or information than anybody else. And I even will admit that I'm not doing any fundamental analysis on these names for the most part. And it's not financial advice. That's my point. So anyway, take care of your loins, and I'll see you guys all next time or on Discord. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much.